Bring the troops home. Bring the troops home. Bring the troops home. Bring the troops home. Brothers and sisters, it's so good to be here today. It's good to be here for peace, isn't it? We demand an end to this war, an immediate end to the war in Iraq. And we want the return of the troops, not in 2013, 2012, 2008. Bring them home tomorrow, and that wouldn't be soon enough. We want the redirection. Right now, we're spending more than $600 billion on this war. $600 billion on a war that cannot be won. We demand, if they got $600 billion for war, they got $600 billion for jobs, for housing, for health care, for education, money to take care of our veterans when they return home. We demand the redirection of that money and the end to any further spending on this war. And shame on those members of Congress that voted for another appropriation for this illegal and unjust war in Iraq. And when we go to the polls next year, let's remember who stood for peace and who stood for war, and let's support those people that stood for peace.
Why does it matter to be out here today? Why does it matter that we are not at home on a rainy Saturday morning doing what normal people would do, shopping, playing with the kids, cleaning the house? I think the answer is that these are not normal times. That's why we're here. It's not normal times to live in a country that is spending hundreds of billions of dollars on a war, waging a war in which the majority of casualties are civilians. A war that is about imposing its profit-making regime and its control in the Middle East. A war that has nothing, absolutely nothing to do with democracy. We're here in part to denormalize that war. And as working people, and here I speak as a part of the labor contingent, as working people, we need to start doing that in our workplaces. Because part of the reason that the war can be waged successfully is that it is made normal in the workplaces. I'll tell you two ways in the schools. One is that recruitment, military recruitment, is enforced and imposed upon both colleges and universities by federal law. It's in the heart of the education law that high schools must give access of students' records to the military. Two, racism is being normalized in schools when nooses can be hung in schools and sent to African American professors and principals. Those two things help to normalize the foundation of this war. So I ask labor people here and everybody here who's in a workplace, first of all, to stop putting our hopes and our money in electing Democrats to Congress and thinking they will stop the war. They are not stopping the war. We need to stop it. And I'm going to call on you to stop it in your workplace. Make it not normal in your workplace and make your workplace not part of the war machine. We can start that tomorrow. Thank you.
Military Families Speak Out is an organization of over 3,700 families with loved ones in the military and who are opposed to this war. For every family that joins MFSO, there are thousands others who oppose the war but are afraid to speak out. We are the parents of an Army Reserve soldier who served 9 months in Iraq in 2004. He wanted to give back to his country and joined after graduating from NYU in 2002. We believe he was lied to and betrayed by this administration. We were all lied to and betrayed. When our son was in Iraq, we couldn't get a restful night's sleep. We were afraid to answer the phone, to answer the door, afraid it would be someone with bad news about our son, a tragedy too often repeated in this country. Watching the news and hearing that some troops were injured or killed in Iraq, we'd have to wait days to find out if our son was still alive. And then, after breathing a sigh of relief, we grieved for the American families as well as the Iraqis who are getting the news that their loved ones were injured or killed.
This is what every military family who has a loved one in the war goes through every day, every night. We were lucky our son came back without any serious injuries. Too many of our friends haven't been so lucky. Too many of our friends have loved ones that came back with psychological or physical injuries. Too many of our friends had loved ones who came back in caskets. We have to bring the troops home now and take care of them when they get here. Come to the Military Family Speak Out table in Foley Square to send a Fund Our Troops, Defund the War postcard to Congress. Tell your representatives and senators they need to vote against any appropriations that will continue this disaster. Thank you.
Call me crazy, but I think this is a beautiful day. You look magnificent. It's hard to see you under the umbrellas and the raincoats, but your energy is pouring out. We know that as we gather here today in New York in the rain, that under better weather conditions in 10 other cities around this country, people are gathering in regional demonstrations. And in scores of other smaller cities, people are also gathering. In fact, in every corner of this country, people are crying out, this war must end. It must end now. All of our troops, all of the contractors must come home now. Not one more dollar, not one more death. This war must end. And as we march today to say end the war in Iraq, we also say no new war in Iran. We have had it with a foreign policy based on war and militarism. We demand a foreign policy based on respect for the people that we share this planet with. It is time to turn this country around. Instead of billions of dollars being poured into war in Iraq and in Afghanistan, it is time for billions of dollars to be poured into our communities, into the Bronx, and into Staten Island, and Queens, and Brooklyn, and right here in Manhattan. We need that money. So it may be raining on us, but it's not slowing us down. It's not stopping us for 1 minute. This movement is strong. We are alive, and we are in every community of this country. Our voices must be heard. Today we march, but our work isn't over at the end of the day. When you leave here today, you need to recommit yourself to do everything you can to make sure Congress does what it has the power to do and stop the flow of money into this war that never should have happened. So I am honored to be here with you today and happy to be marching. Even though the weather isn't perfect, we are determined. We are the strong ones in this country. This war will end. Thank you.